the Crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 176 of Dads from the Crypt. My name is Jason. I'll be your host tonight. Joining me is Mr. Spider Mondo.
Hey. You
Uh,
done this intro 176 times, and
I know, I still love it.
yeah, it's all good.
We're recording on a Friday night, so who knows what's going to happen. But joining us are two amazing guests. We have Alyssa and Courtney.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Tell me about your show.
Who wants to go first?
Alyssa, how about you? It's your show that you
our
invited me
show.
to do with you.
So we are the Silver Scream, and we are on a hunt to find the best werewolf movies. And we fail most of the time.
Is the hunt good? Not always.
Well, how many have you watched so far for the show?
Oh gosh. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think we're in the 70s now, though.
We're close to
70s or
80.
80s.
I think we're close to 80.
That's great.
And have you? What are the top ones that you've watched so far?
Ooh, juicy question.
Well, you're on the
I
hunt
think
for the best, so you gotta quantify.
I think like the best, like there's like best and then there's favorites. So like
Okay.
I feel like some of the best we've watched are definitely like Ginger Snaps, American Werewolf in London. We both really loved Werewolf of London.
Mm-hmm. The first
werewolf movie before the Wolfman.
Mm-hmm.
When was that made? Late 20s?
35.
Nice. Yeah, 35.
Oh, wow.
It was a floporama, and so they scrapped it completely and went with the Lon Chaney version later, which was a success. But I think the reason that Werewolf of London was a floporama was because it was very, very narratively similar to Jekyll and Hyde.
Okay.
More so, and I think that just might have. I think people were just too like, this isn't as good as Jekyll and Hyde, which fair enough. But I think it rocked my socks, and
it was so
for a
good.
1930s movie, especially. Excellent. And you mentioned American Werewolf in London. That one is probably the first one I think of when people ask what's the best one, just because that beautiful, beautiful creature design and that amazing transformation scene really just steal the show.
Now, putting aside like people's opinions of best and all that stuff, what's your guilty pleasure werewolf movies? Which ones make you howl?
I really, really had a great time with this one like C movie that we watched called Bubba the Redneck Werewolf.
Yes.
They called what?
Bubba the Redneck Werewolf.
That sounds fun.
It was
silly. It was so silly. And I just had so much fun with it.
Yeah, it felt like a passion project, and I think that's why we liked it the most. It was a very happy, like joyful experience to watch, even though it was definitely like a C below movie quality wise. I'd also say I really did. I love the Howling 3, the marsupials. I thought it was very, very funny.
Is that the one with the really weird tagline or subtitle?
It's just marsupials.
Or maybe it's the second one. Something like My Sister Was a Werewolf or
Oh,
something.
yeah. The second one is Your Sister's a Werewolf.
Yeah.
Original title was Steered by the Werewolf Bitch. Was that what, or something like that?
Yeah.
So I think the change was probably done for the better, but Your Sister's a Werewolf is a pretty funny, like, it almost sounds like a sitcom or something.
Yeah, exactly. My Sister the Werewolf.
Yeah.
She walks in, everyone gets a round of applause. You know, it makes sense.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, and Teen Wolf too. Not the second one.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Teen Wolf 2, but Teen Wolf as well is a great guilty pleasure that I don't feel guilty about. It's just
it's
movie.
Teen Wolf good.
I used to watch that all the time as a kid. I haven't watched it like probably well over 20 years. And I think one like everything CinemaSins, the one of those everything wrong with videos for that movie. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things here I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm curious to watch it and see how it aged.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since I was a kid, probably, but I liked it.
Yeah.
It's
There's
got some things that like didn't age well, but it was still fun to watch and revisit. And then like I'm a fan of the MTV Teen Wolf TV show, which is also not necessarily good, but is very good at the same time. I steadfast they made a movie a few years ago, and I think a while back you had reached out to me because you're like, I'm interviewing the director. Do you have any Teen Wolf related questions? And then I sent some things in, and then like a week later, I haven't watched the movie, but I know what happens in it. And if I had known before what I was going to send you questions, I would have been like, what the fuck did you do?
It would have been a lot of hateful questions.
It would have been hateful. So it was probably for the best, but I don't want to watch it, but I know we're going to have to watch it. So I keep saying it needs to be our last movie.
I just want Jason to be interviewing someone. He's like, yeah, we have a question from Melissa. What the fuck did you do?
How do you sleep?
Explain yourself.
Yeah, how do you look at yourself in the mirror? All right. Well, tonight. So we are going to talk about the werewolf, or is it Wolf? Oh, sorry. Wolf? Is it Wolfman or the Wolfman? It's just Wolfman.
It's just Wolfman.
Wolfman.
There's a space in there.
All right. I watched it last night in preparation to talk to you guys, so we can do like a quick little discussion about it. We'll do it after we do our main review, so stick around for that. But tonight we're talking about Creepshow, Season 3, Episode 4, which came out on October 7th, 2021. Fortunately, Jody has a cold tonight, so it's my pleasure to ask ChatGPT to give me the plot synopsis.
I thought you were about to ask me, and I was just going to sign off and go do something.
I can tell you the plot synopsis of you know what? I don't want to even say the works. I'm going to misspeak it, but art, painting, haunted, Elon Musk adjacent man buys it, and consequences happen.
Right. So this first segment is called The Last Tsubara or Subari.
Tsuburaya.
Forgive us, we're going to pronounce it different ways.
It was Tsuburaya.
Tsuburaya.
Yeah, that one.
I'm going to listen to the librarian.
Yeah, exactly.
My shirt does say librarian.
It does. Oh, it's got your name on it. That's a cool shirt.
Yeah.
All right. Wade Cruz is an arrogant billionaire who outbids a museum for the final unseen painting of a reclusive and macabre artist. He callously destroys the art after viewing it in front of a group of people, believing its existence is now solely in his mind. However, the monstrous creature depicted in the painting begins to haunt him, blurring the lines between reality and the artist's dark imagination. All right, Alyssa, start us off. What did you think of this segment?
I actually really liked it. I think it was my preferred of the two. It gave me some strong Dorian Gray vibes.
Okay.
About the influence of art and how it can like bring out the most corrupt in us. I hated that guy a whole lot. Courtney hit the nail right on the head there. He is very Elon Musky. And I was like, this guy fucking sucks. And so I couldn't wait for him to get his comeuppance. I kept thinking that he was going to accidentally murder somebody.
I was thinking the exact same thing because the way they shot it, like when he impales the monster or whatever, and then like I was thinking, oh, now we're gonna see he killed some like the janitor
or the
girlfriend.
The girlfriend, that's what I was expecting.
So but I really liked it. I thought that it kind of shows a lot about the corruptibility of power and money. Like he could do whatever he wanted because he had the money. He didn't have any consequences until he did.
Right.
So I like
Courtney. Yeah, Courtney.
I think between the two, I actually preferred the second one, but I do think this one had a much more satisfying story resolution. I thought it was a great comeuppance moment. I also really liked the creature design of this one, and the suit was very cool. I kind of thought the beginning parts of it where he was just like trying to bid on the art and stuff, I was getting kind of like, okay, this guy, this is very archetypal type of guy. And I thought too what was I gonna say? The beginning where they show you the painting was given to him by, like, it was 100 years after my death. Give this painting to my ancestor. I was kind of curious, like, what the plan was if the rich guy didn't get the painting, and if it actually went to the ancestor or the
Descendant.
The descendant. Yeah, but I thought it was a very fun twist for like the art collectors and the museum people to get outbid by this guy who just ends up, dying from his own hubris, as you could say.
Or what if he didn't have any descendants? That's the other thing I was wondering about.
But no one ever gets to see the painting.
Yeah, my thought on that was that because he mentioned at the end when you see the actual painter and he comes out, he's no longer demon form once he gets killed. And he kind of says that, like, cool, now you have to take my spot because you saw the painting. I think his goal was actually to have because he mentioned he was kind of evil. So I think his goal was to have his descendant literally just become him and release his soul.
I'm going to trap you in the painting next.
Yeah. That's a shitty thing to do to your great.
I know.
Right. He hates humanity so much, he hates his own humanity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mondo.
Yeah, I like this one. I liked it way better than the second one for reasons we'll get into later. I almost turned the second one off like 15 minutes. I figured 5 minutes.
That one wasn't for Mondo.
I powered through it and I watched it. Well, I was at my office when I watched it, so it made it better because I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's people here. There's no spy, whatever. Yeah, I think just piggybacking up what you guys said, the idea of this rich guy who wants something that no one else can have, and that's kind of like. They say the plight is as people get more money and get more wealthy and get more power, what gives you excitement anymore? And unfortunately for people, a lot of people like this, it's doing nefarious things or doing, he didn't really care what the painting looked like. He just wanted to buy it just to see the reaction of when he burned it in front of these people and to say, I'm the only person in the world that ever got to see that. I get to hold on to that. And, newsflash, you can get the same feeling by learning an instrument or learning an art or doing something yourself. But you can't buy that. So rich people don't tend to like that. But I do love, much like as I try to tie it back into our podcast name, very Tales from the Crypt at the end with the rich Elon Musk-like figure getting exactly what he deserved. I would have liked to see just a big massacre, though, of all those rich people. Those rich.
I was waiting for that.
Fans.
Like at the party or something?
Yeah. I was thinking something like that was going to happen. And I was kind of bummed we didn't get that, but it wouldn't have really fit in with the story.
Yeah, because he's doing it behind. There's like a big wall of weapons and stuff behind them. So I was waiting for like a big massacre kind of thing, but they don't really have the budget for that in this show.
Yeah, I do find it funny that he was able to pull a sword off the wall and know how to use it. Like, you should have taken some lessons or train with that or learn what you were doing. But I did think that was kind of fun. Anytime you have a wall of weapons, I need to see something on that wall getting used, no matter what it is.
Literally Chekhov's gun. I really like this episode for pretty much everything we all said. I was saying a couple episodes ago that, like, I think one of the things that's missing from the show is some of the campiness that Tales from the Crypt had, kind of the overtop performances. And this guy who played the millionaire, billionaire, whatever, he goes really over the top, and that's exactly what I wanted. It's just like snarling, chewing the scenery. That's the kind of performance you want out of your big bad.
Yeah, he was kind of giving me like a Homelander vibe. Just his like arrogant presence and his body language and face. It was you definitely read that character right away.
Well, it starts off with the the ancestor, this young guy, and I thought he was going to be I thought there was going to be like a whole bidding war and everything. He was going to be tempted or whatever. We never see him again. I thought that was a pretty funny kind of fake out.
Yeah, see you later, Bobby.
I can't even blame the guy because, then again, also Mr. Musk over here is trying to steal a painting because he doesn't want anybody else to see it, so he doesn't want it to be in a museum, which is pretty shitty. And he later also mentions how he got his fortune, which is because his parents died. Yeah.
Well, he tells all these stories about, like, he was trying to buy something from this guy and his daughter had cancer. And he was trying to sell this rare vase and he like screwed him over just to like fuck with him. I'm like, that's some really shitty things. So
it feels like what's happening right now. Just
yeah. I mean, for those that like to call us too woke or whatever, this is the episode where I think the band-aid's going to get ripped off a little bit, because we have a billionaire going through our little government and just like intentionally cutting programs that help people, and for his own.
He better buy a painting.
Yeah, I'm like,
if any artists out there know how to make a cursed painting that can kill someone, just kidding.
yeah. So,
Tell him there's a really cool meme and
to the FBI agent in our computer, we're just joking.
Yeah,
this is hypothetical.
yeah, exactly.
they probably don't. FBI agent, if you're listening, wink.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, definitely this week of all weeks, I was just like watching this, like I was like, yeah, get him. Yeah, I was like so rooting for this guy to get it.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see like the horror movies that are being kind of produced right now and shot or written, what that's going to look like, or for the next 4 years, what that's going to look like, because horror has always kind of mimicked what was going on in society. And newsflash, guys, horror is woke. Sorry.
What?
Sorry.
But the guy from Terrifier said it wasn't.
You're not touching that.
That disappointed me to no end. I wish he just kept his mouth shut. That's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother. I don't want to bag on Damien Leone, but like I don't think what he said was inherently bad. But I do think though that he
just
was
read the room, dude.
Yeah, read the room. He was trying to appease people that probably hold the pocketbook, but in that case, it's better to say nothing. Like just
exactly.
Yeah, but but yeah, horror. I'm really interested to see in a couple years from now, like what movies are coming out, and I think we're going to see a lot of similar themes to what we saw in this episode.
I think we're going to get a lot more feminist horror as well, especially because of The Substance being such an awards-friendly film right now. I was just watching the Critics' Choice Award, and it took home Best Actress for Demi Moore, Best Screenplay, which was
nice,
shocking, and Best Makeup and Hair. Of course, that's a guaranteed win for the Oscars.
I finally watched The Substance the other night with Courtney, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because about a year after the Roe v. Wade was overturned, there was a bunch of like Frankenstein type movies, but from a very feminist perspective, and obviously that that's the backlash to that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and anyways,
just know for people out there that at least these two bearded, white-looking guys, we voted for you guys. So.
Thanks, bearded white guys. White-looking guys.
Yeah, you know what? I said this before, but when people say men suck, I'm just like, yeah, you're right.
You're so right.
You're right.
All right, let's move on to the next segment. It's called "Okay, I'll Bite." Okay, Elmer Strick is a timid pharmacist imprisoned for euthanizing his ailing mother. He endures abuse from guards and inmates. His only solace is his collection of pet spiders, particularly a large, mysterious one residing in a cell wall. When a cruel guard threatens his arachnid companions, Elmer resorts to dark magic to unleash a terrifying revenge. Mondo.
Face.
This is the worst episode of anything I've ever seen in my life. I'd rather watch Werewolf in a women's prison again.
No,
it's I'm kidding. I pretty much listen to podcasts. I'm terrified. I hate spiders.
Okay.
we have a kitty visitor.
Peaches.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh man, Peaches is so big.
I didn't realize
this year.
Man, sorry. This is
a spider episode, Mondo. Until you posted that, I was like, oh
yeah.
No.
I messaged Jason and Jody and said I might just turn the second segment off. They did some cool things with it. Like I like that you had like the one sympathetic guard and the one guard, the good cop, bad cop kind of thing. But the good cop actually really seemed like he really actually cared about the guy and was trying to do his best. And you kind of had a sympathetic character and someone who went to prison because he was trying to do something humane for somebody else, which I'm also a believer in. You should, if you're in pain at the end of your life, you should be able to do what we do for dogs, which is end it humanely and not have to live in pain. So I respect that. I did like how he was very, he always talk about the spiders, like they won't hurt you. They're just like he had to find solace in something, and that's the only thing he felt like he could when we discovered this affection for spiders. He latched onto that because I imagine in prison being a terrible place, you need to hold on to something. And he didn't have his family anymore, so that's kind of all he had. Now, when it got to the point we let the spider eat him after he did the incantation or whatever, you have all these little spiders crawling on him, and the fucking CGI was not good. Let's just be honest. The CGI was not good. Give me Lucio Fulci's little spiders on a stick. Fake ass spider any day of the week because it's at least fun. That kind of took me out of it. And then I like the evil guard getting his comeuppance, but I also am not I didn't quite understand the piece of like why did the giant spider have to eat him to do that? I didn't quite understand that. So that kind of weirded me out.
I feel like this one, the ending of it felt like the beginning of a movie or something. Like I was like, I want to know this guy's Spider-Man now, I'm assuming, or at least he's like him and that spider have morphed together, maybe. But like, what's next for this guy?
Or if you guys ever seen the video of scientifically accurate Spider-Man?
No, but that's funny.
You have to look
at terrifying.
It's a very, very old cartoon like some guy was making, but scientifically accurate Spider-Man is freaking hilarious. That's what I was hoping they'd show because it is ridiculous. But yeah, it felt like it just didn't feel like it was a complete. I don't know. I think something was missing there at the end.
Yeah, I felt the red in this one was really wonky. There's like lots of little things that just didn't quite add up along with those things. But like they talk about, they have a flashback to when he's helping his mother. And it says like 1 year later, but there's like what was it like 1 year before, but there's a whole there's like things about the timeline didn't make any sense.
I literally text Alyssa the same thing. I'm like, what do you mean he got parole after 1 year?
Yeah, okay, that was it. Yeah, he got parole. He got so
or
he
parole
murdered
hearing.
someone. He technically, I mean, but according to the law that they're prosecuting for, he committed a quote crime, went through a trial, which would have been a high, contentious one, and then he was up for parole all within 1 year. Like that does not make any sense.
No, the trial would have taken forever. But to put in perspective, there was a football player for the Las Vegas Raiders who was going 130 miles an hour down a side street. Not even it's a main street here, but it's not a freeway, and hit another car. The other car caught on fire, and a woman and a dog burned to death inside of that car, and he was over the legal limit for alcohol. Because he's a football player, he's already on light. He got sentenced to 3 to 10 years. He's done 2 years. He's probably going to get out on parole.
Gosh.
So our legal system does suck. Put it that way.
No, but I'm just saying within the context of the show, it just shows that I think they kind of wrote this one a little quicker, or they didn't do as many drafts.
Yeah,
really
I was expecting it to say 10 years or something, because I also feel like that's not enough time for him to develop the spider fascination. I didn't know if it was mentioned if he was into spiders before prison. He was talking about how he was famous for studying them, and that's how he got the spell from that fan mail he got.
That would actually kind of make some sense, because he'd have to study them before pre-prison. Maybe good, but they could have easily mentioned that and said, "Oh, yeah, he's an entomologist or whatever."
Yeah, he's a pharmacist with a spider hobby.
Yeah,
I will say though, when the spider bit the guard in the eye, or was it the prisoner in the eye, that was pretty badass.
He deserved it.
It was funny though. I felt like the reaction to it was very campy, almost like he was just like, "Oh my eye!" But the shot was so visceral before that. I actually did. It was squeamish, and I wasn't expecting that, because I mean, I really do like the show. I do like Creepshow, but I feel like it's a bit edgeless with its R rating. They swear, but I feel like there could be a little bit, I don't know, sometimes something a little bit more grown up or so. But the campiness was definitely present to me in the second episode.
Well, the two prisoners screamed to me like stuntmen that they just wanted to put on camera for a couple minutes to do these little performances. And all respect to stuntman and what they put their bodies through, but acting is largely not what they're known for.
What was his name? I don't got beef with Polish Joe, or what was his name? Polish. Yeah. The gang leader, Polish Joe, or whatever his name was.
Were they trying to get him to make meth or something like that for them?
Yeah, that's the pharmacist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
your local pharmacist doesn't know how to make meth.
This is
Well,
a
Walter White knows how to.
prisons. He's a chemistry
he
teacher.
was a scientist, a little bit different. A chemist. He was a chemist. But it's kind of funny. When I was in high school in health class, my freshman year of high school, they showed us a video that basically showed us how to make meth to make sure that we didn't make meth.
Here's what you don't do.
There's a one kid in the back of class taking note. Like,
Exactly.
notes. I'm like,
That's really fun. Now I want to know who makes that video.
Oh, dude, it was kind of like when the DARE officers would come in and tell you what all the drugs do to you, and you'd be like, "Yeah, all these sound amazing and fun."
Yes.
Why are we not
definitely.
just doing these things?
No, we had one of the when I was in college, the fraternity board had someone like that come in. And to this day, I'm still want to try ketamine based on his description. Like, that sounds amazing.
I mean, it's a horse tranquilizer, but they also use it for a lot of things in the actual medical field. There's actually even ketamine therapy.
Yeah, there's a lot of like therapeutical uses. I know, but just based on that description when I was in college, they're like, yeah, it's terrible. It does this, and I'm like, oh.
I do know some people who have done it over international waters, actually. So it was legal, technically. And the reaction from the two people were both very mixed. Like, one person's like, "Oh, I had a good time." The other person's like, I was flying over the ocean and thinking I'm going to die here on this floor because I can't move.
Well, maybe don't do it over the ocean.
This is what happens when it's a guy I train with, and he has some wealthy friends that are wealthy to the point where you have to sign an NDA to go to their house.
Oh, that's always good.
Yeah, so they're on a private plane to Colombia or someplace. I don't know.
So
someplace not here.
Reminds me of the guy from. Have you guys seen The Companion yet?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, no, it just came out right this weekend.
Yeah, just
like Sergey.
Don't say anything about. Don't say anything about.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying like that one.
Okay.
You know the character I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about. That movie is amazing.
Oh,
yeah,
I
it's
want to
really
see
good.
it really bad. Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen a trailer for it, don't walk in blind.
I unfortunately saw the trailer for it, and I'm sad. But
so anybody out there,
it doesn't completely ruin it, but it does take away a moment of like realization.
Yeah,
that's a bummer. I hate when trailers do that.
It doesn't ruin. Oh, it definitely doesn't. It's still a very good movie. The movie does not hinge on that one thing, which is great.
Yeah,
but it's definitely part of the experience.
Yeah, going into those movies, like Barbarian, obviously from the same team. That was another one. Going into blind was like the best way to do it because then the twists and turns are truly kind of shocking or surprising.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But other than that, yeah, great movie. All right. So, any final thoughts on these two?
Yes, I wanted to talk about how the warden was dressed like the Monopoly Man, really bad.
Yes, I forgot about that. He was wearing like a tuxedo when he visits.
He was wearing a tuxedo and like a bow tie. I'm like, who is this guy? Is he late for a party? He's going to a gala after this, y'all.
They totally missed the opportunity to have him be very serious and say, "Clean this up, or you will go directly to jail and not get $200."
I also noticed that I have a feeling like the actor who played the main guy, when he was holding the spider, I could see him shaking a little bit. I had a feeling he was probably a little nervous, but good for him for pushing through if he was.
I don't know if I've told this story, but I think that jumping spiders are just adorable.
They are.
They ask for uppies. They who knows what they're thinking, their little spider brains. But my child and I were at the Oddities and Curiosities Expo, which I highly recommend everybody go to. They're fun as hell. And there is this is a reptile expo. And this lady she was selling jumping spiders. And I'm just looking at it. I'm like, oh, it looks kind of cute. And she goes, "You want to hold one?" I said, No, I'm terrified of spiders. Maybe it'll help your fear. I'm like, yep, nope, not doing that. I will just stare at it through this little glass enclosure it's in because I said, "What if I drop it?" He goes, "It's not that big of a deal." Like, I'm like, no, we're not doing this.
He's gonna make a run for it.
Yeah, she tried to talk me to holding the spider, and I couldn't do it.
I love spiders enough for both of us.
No, you could not drag me into.
Yeah, see, Mondo is spiders and Jason is snakes.
Like, that's my thing.
I thought about Jason today. I saw a video of a dog walks up to a guy, and he's got a snake in his mouth, and it's wrapped around his snoot or his snout. And just like most dogs, just acting like nothing is wrong. This is just okay. Snoot. Snout, snoot. We say snoot in this house. Just say.
In this house, we respect the snoot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
We
Now's
believe
the
that
part
trans
where we
people
go
are
around
people,
and
and
say
we
which
believe in the
was
word
our
snoot.
favorite.
The first one's the best.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
stand on
Now
my.
we're gonna.
Are you just gonna talk over people, Jason? He's
Which
gonna-
episode you prefer?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm sticking with the second one. I just thought it was a little more fun. I do like the ending of the first one, but overall, I think there was just too much talking.
the parts where they're talking.
Yeah,
Too much talking, not enough creeping.
Alyssa.
I base my answer 100% off spiders. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
I liked the first one better. I think that the second one felt like it was missing something, even though I liked it. I liked it. It just felt like it was missing something.
Yeah, no, I agree. The first one I felt was much stronger. But there's a lot of potential in the second one. I think if anything, it needed more time. But
I kept saying that I was going to see Infested because it got such great reviews. But after watching this episode, there's a zero chance I can get through it.
yeah, I mean, those are more like the ones in the spiders in this one are like realistic spiders. Infected, they're more like mutant spiders. So I thought
They did use a lot of real spiders in Infested, though.
Yeah.
Have you seen Sting? Not to be confused with the wrestler, but the spider horror comedy. I thought it was pretty funny. It's definitely more of a comedy, and I think the spider is off screen most of it, but like it's alluded to. But
Yeah,
I think that kind of reminded me of Sting a little bit, but obviously Sting was a lot better. But the tone, I guess, of Sting was pretty fun.
Unless Sting comes in there and starts beating up a spider with a baseball bat, I'm not watching it. I love Sting.
Speaking of Sting, they did that concert for the LA fires
Different
relief,
kind of Sting.
and they had Sting with Stevie Wonder doing Superstitious.
Ooh,
That was
What a
amazing.
fun
It was
cover.
really cool.
I'd rather see the real Sting wrestle the match. That's fine.
There we go. Wrestle
He's
Stevie
retired,
Wonder.
He's retired.
I think he could still take Stevie Wonder, but
Stevie Wonder used to always come into the Apple store I worked at with his I don't know. I want to call him his gang, but he would take out like other people who are just blind or deaf, and just kind of take them out for the day and buy him stuff, and I'm not sure how it all worked out, but he'd always have tourists always come up to him and say hi to him, and he's always very gracious with his time and a very, very nice person. But I still remember we had a lot of Asians, so a lot of Chinese people, especially during Chinese New Year, that would come to Las Vegas, and they'd always come to the Forum shops because our stuff is just cheaper out here. And one lady went and said hi to Stevie Wonder, and they're leaving, and she goes, "Stevie," and she's waving at him.
Oh no!
and Stevie's handler says, she's waving at you, and he goes, "Oh." Goes, "Am I facing the wall?" He goes, "Yep," and he waved back at the wall.
Oh,
He did it intentionally, though. I'm like, what a great dude.
That's
that
funny.
sounds so funny.
That's pretty funny.
all right. We didn't mention it, but the first segment is directed by Jeffrey January. He's done mostly assistant directing stuff, especially for Walking Dead. So, it makes sense he did some stuff here. The second one, however, is directed by Mr. John Harrison. So with that, we're going to take a moment for a shout out.
Hey there, John Harrison here, and you're listening to Dads from the Crypt.
That's so
That man
cute.
did the Creepshow soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so
And he
cool.
actually has, I don't know if it's a book or a short story collection coming out very soon. So make sure to check his socials for that as well. Mondo, do you have a song of the day for us?
I do, and it's super topical.
Mm.
And I feel like I nailed it today. So there's a band from the UK called Spider God.
Oh,
And they're a black metal band. They have gotten criticized in the black metal circle for being kind of a woke band. They do some fun stuff, but back in 2022, they released an album called Black Renditions, which is like black metal versions of these songs this guy kind of just loved growing up. And everything from there's a Britney Spears song on there. There is all kinds of fun stuff. I can send you guys a link to it if you want. Like I Want to Dance with Somebody is a song he does. And I'm so excited. He does that song.
I love this.
But he also does Christina Aguilera's Genie in a Bottle. And kind of the first episode was kind of like a genie in the bottle situation, except for he burned the painting. To
Demon in a
get the genie to appear.
painting, genie in a bottle. Very
Yeah.
similar, yes.
And the band's name has the word spider in it. So I feel like I nailed it.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
There you go.
They're actually a really, really fun band. So I definitely say people check them out. It's not your typical. Some of the early stuff is more typical, like lo-fi dungeon style black metal. But then you just kind of realize I'm just going to do what I want to do, and that's when I think some artists really hit their strides. So Black Renditions from 2022 from Spider God, and the song is actually just called Genie because he couldn't use the whole name probably without getting sued.
Oh.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, definitely gonna check that out. I love a good cover. There's something really fun about that.
I like when you have even like Tori Amos did a Slayer song once, and I've always loved when people take that song from a different genre that they love and make it their own and or play it in their style, because I've heard a million metal bands cover Slayer and it all sounds about the same. But when hearing Tori Amos do it and her take on it, I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard it as a kid, I was like, this isn't metal, this sucks. But as an adult, I'm like, it's pretty badass.
That is pretty metal, actually. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I went through a big Richard Cheese phase for a while, my mid-20s.
He was a fun live show.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. It's more of a novelty, but yeah, he's definitely fun live. I never got to see that.
Richard Cheese.
Alrighty. Well, since Jody's not here to do horror news, I thought we would talk about a movie that just came out called Wolfman. I just watched it last night real quick, and I'm assuming you guys did an episode review already.
We did.
What are your give me your top thoughts? And we're gonna do spoilers, so if anyone hasn't seen it, doesn't want to be spoiled, you can skip ahead. But
I have not seen it, but you guys can spoil it. It's totally fine.
He turns into a werewolf, Mondo.
God damn, I'm leaving.
Spoiler
Or
alert.
a man wolf.
A wolf man, if you will.
I want a Wolfman movie, but not Wolfman. I want like Chihuahua Man.
Oh
dude
my
just turns
gosh,
into, like,
I
a
had the
little
perfect
rabid
one for
Chihuahua
that.
at night.
Where he just like shakes a lot and then pees on the floor.
Yeah, they wake up in the morning.
Well,
why is
you
there
know,
piss
you kind
everywhere?
of get that in this movie. He does shake a lot.
Yeah,
and
he
pee on
does
the
shake a
floor.
lot. He pees the floor.
Oh,
I think he has more hair before he turns into the werewolf than he does when he
Yeah.
is a werewolf.
Yeah,
Ends up bald with no bitches. Like I just.
My new Chihuahua, he's 10, but he has an accent every now and again because he's only been here a month. But today I gave him a bath, and my wife bought him one of those like dog dryers, and we tried to use it on him. He did not like it. And then I had to run to the store, and I came back, and he peed on the box that it came in. It's like,
Yeah, fuck that.
Like, don't use this.
I'm not even mad. Like, you didn't like something, and you expressed your displeasure.
Yeah, Wolfman was it was fine. There were things about it that I really liked. There were some like artistic choices that I was like, "Oh, this is neat." Like the Wolfman vision was really cool. There's like this part where like when it cuts to like the camera pans and then you're seeing from his perspective and like all the colors are weird and the language is all distorted and backwards
cool.
and like that's cool. But then
Yeah.
it just needed more. It needed more. And I didn't love the creature design. Bald with no bitches at the end. Like
Yeah, I think my big takeaways, first and foremost, are congratulations on putting that fucking monster movie out, because that was a mess of a production from the get-go with Universal's Dark Universe fiasco and losing and gaining Leigh Whannell twice before it comes out in theaters. Filmed in 8 months. Like, congratulations to them for putting that movie out there. And I think for what it is, they did a much better job than what I would have guessed. Did not like the design that much, but I love the idea of the werewolfery being a disease that affects every aspect of your communication as well as your body. I like Christopher Abbott a lot. I want him to stay winning. I like Julia Garner. I think the movie, I didn't expect it to be a survive the night. I liked it as a survive the night, but I agree that there was just not enough time spent with the characters before or during or after the events. It just felt too fast, but There was some good stuff though.
There's like literally 2 or 3 scenes before they actually go on their little trip. So like they kind of like shoehorn everything that we're supposed to know about these characters very, very quickly and forcefully. I haven't really seen Julie Garner much, but I thought she was very one note in what they were trying to have her do, just as like concerned wife kind of role. It was just very dour, and like there's no and I'm fine with a dark movie, but like, there needs to be like something to break up a mood, because it was just like the whole way through, like even like in The Invisible Man, which I was a huge fan of, there were like a couple moments of like, okay, that was kind of funny, or like, you know, some like, okay, what the fuck's going on with that? But this one was just like from the get-go, it's just so down and like hitting me over the head with it. And I came in, usually if I come in the movie with lowered expectations, I'm usually like okay with it.
Yeah.
My expectations for this were already low, and I actually liked it less after I was done watching. I was like, no, this was not good. Like I said, there were good ideas. Like if they made it into like a half hour kind of short, and like you know, you just cut out, you know, all the stuff, just go straight to them in the van, and you could have made like and shown up some of the chase stuff. You could have had like a really good like half hour or so, you know, concept.
You're right. You could definitely communicate everything that was communicated in the beginning in the van if you wanted to, because it was very like, let's check this off. Okay, daughter likes her dad better than her mom. Mom's busy. Dad stay at home. Daughter and dad bond.
Like,
yeah.
And like I said this in our episode about it, but like there's a part in the movie where Julie Garner says like, oh, she like basically like I don't know how to connect with her. And I wish that there had been more of that throughout the movie, of the daughter having less of a connection with the mom.
Like how that play into the later in the movie.
Yeah, because I think it would have created some good, like, I mean, there's already tension, but it would have been a different layer of tension, like a different
emotional tension.
Yeah. And the poster for it just has the two of them on the cover. So I kind of thought, oh, maybe they're going to be separated from, like, maybe he's going to get werewolf and he's going to be like chasing them throughout the whole movie, which he does, but not really. But like those two together, I thought were going to become the main characters after the dad gets transformed, but he stays the main character the whole time. And I saw a reviewer that mentioned, like, I don't think these parents really cared about that kid very much. They just kind of shoved her in the closet during the action scenes.
Totally. And it felt like it was just ripping off The Fly, like, too much. Like, obviously, The Fly is an amazing movie. But again, in The Fly, there were still moments of, like, Jeff Goldblum kind of walking on the wall. And they're like, oh, that's kind of weird. That's kind of quirky. Or his, like, body parts are falling off. He's talking about, oh, I guess I have this museum of my parts. But again, they still found like a way to break up a little bit of it as this person's like disintegrating literally. And they just took like all those bits and just even the very ending was very The Fly, and like we get it.
Oh, I hated that. Like, I mean, I like the little like thing that the father-daughter do where she touches his forehead and like, I can read your mind. That's like the joke, is that every time she does that, he's thinking the same thing, which is I love my daughter. And then at the end, she's like, touch my gross bald werewolf dad's forehead and tell my mom he wants to die now. Like I can hear it. Like I just, it seemed kind of silly, a little corny. I would have loved it if it were like just more than one night. And I wanted to see the wolf in the woods doing wolf shit. Like the wolf vision was so cool, but they only showed wolf vision when they're in a room doing nothing else. There was no wolf vision when he was actually like trying to hunt or do anything fight. Like
I remember there was one where he kind of looks at the wood. He's outside, looks at the woods, and the trees just are like super long and stuff. But yeah, I liked it if they could have like figured it out and used that against him or something, or if like when he looked at them, he didn't see them as people anymore. He thought they were a threat.
More cat and mouse, I guess, would have been kind of cool. More like trying to make like, because you mentioned The Invisible Man. That was such a great story because the main character is trying to convince everybody else that there's a real threat the whole movie. And it's kind of like it's like a gaslighting, metaphor sort of a thing. Like I don't see the threat that you see in your own relationship, or just in general, like that was such a cool way to play with it. But there wasn't much playing going on with this Wolfman concept besides disease and suffering, which that sucks, man. And I felt like he seemed like he was suffering more than anyone else in the movie, and like he pisses on himself and It's really like a really pathetic Wolfman for a very long part of the movie, and it's
right. Well, I think they're trying to do something about generational trauma and how the father was, had all these issues, and the grandfather, I guess, in this scenario had all these issues, and his son was trying to like correct the ways, but he got pulled back. But none of it really landed. It was all very surface.
Very quick too, and it wasn't a very long movie, but I'm glad they didn't stretch it to be 2 hours or anything. I don't know. You probably could have kept the same length with different moments development. We just reviewed another generational trauma movie about werewolves, kind of called Night Bitch, which was a much more interesting look at passing on trauma and things from generation to generation, and especially watching that after Wolfman, it just made Wolfman seem less effective at that big message. I
like Night Bitch a lot, actually. I thought it was really
I did too.
Yeah, I really think so. I love Amy Adams. It's really, you really need to see that.
My dad liked it. Strong review from Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, when we talk about movies like this, we're coming out as fans. We want it to be good. We're not trying to shit on someone else's stuff. But we want it to be better.
Right.
Do better.
Yeah, and there's stuff to say that was good, and you can commend the makeup artists and the people who designed the creature. Like, they did a good job, even though it wasn't a creature that I think they should have gone with. I mean, do you remember that really silly Universal Studios actor clip going around on their horror nights?
It's not as far off as they want us to think.
That's exactly what he looked like, and everyone like they were so mad that was revealed, and I'm like, oh my god, it did look like that. Damn it, I was not wanting it to.
No, here's the question: have you guys reviewed that Wolfman movie that came out like 2010? I want to say with Vincent Del Toro.
Yes.
Which one is better between the two?
That one.
That one is much more of an action thriller. It's also just got a much more fun. There's a lot of fun scenes that I can just remember, like the scene where he's in the surgery thing where all the doctors are watching him turn into a werewolf. That scene was really cool, and I liked it. And I liked Anthony Hopkins was a great supporting actor.
Anthony Hopkins, an aging queen in a tiger coat.
And that one was also a direct remake of The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. Like, the plot was the same. Wolfman is not the same at all in any way. And I don't mind that they went with the new direction, like, and not remaking The Wolfman. But I personally thought it could have been adapted to be modern because, the inciting incident in The Wolfman is that Larry Talbot's brother dies and he has to go to return home to his father's estate to figure out what's going on. That could be done in modern times. Like, if your brother died in a hunting accident, that would be interesting.
I mean, that is essentially the plot, the very basic plot where, his father dies. He has to go back to his father's estate.
Kind of, though. But his father's missing. But
the bare bone.
Yeah. And I was expecting, I thought it was, for a little bit, I thought maybe the father was like still, like, the human side of him was able to think and like live in the house and secretly and like was stalking them, but no, he was not.
Oh god, he was frogging?
He was frogging. He was the frogman, not the wolfman. But no, that
frogman.
I kept
frogging is my greatest fear, by the way. I
keep accidentally writing the movie I want to see whenever I think about Wolfman, but it's kind of hard not to.
I simply think we need to make our own werewolf movies. We've watched enough. We're experts.
I've got $5 and a dream, and I can make it happen.
All right, I have the pitch for you. It's going to be Wolf, Man. The Wolf Man, and it's just going to be a guy that turns into a wolf. But when he's a wolf, he's also a major stoner. So he just walks around the house eating snacks and getting high, and then he goes back to bed.
That is my dream, actually, to see a werewolf stoner movie. Maybe we should make that dream a reality.
Yes.
I like it.
Have you guys done Wolf Cop yet?
Yes, we have to do Wolf Cop.
That's probably my favorite werewolf. That's probably my personal favorate werewolf movie. I love that.
That's awesome.
It's a fun movie. We watched the second one and it was not great.
Did not like the second one.
The second one's not good. I saw the Wolfman at a test screening where they give you out the questionnaires afterwards.
The Wolfman 2010?
2010, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive for the 1935 one.
I didn't know if you
But,
meant this.
No, I'm
Yeah,
I
that's
was.
true.
no. Jason, did you see the first one in the theater?
Yeah, totally.
Um,
It was on our senior trip in high school. That's where we did.
but
Popcorn was a penny.
Rick Baker, who did like the practical effects for that, was really upset about how that movie came off because they ended up telling him he couldn't do practical effects for a lot of things, and they ended up just doing CGI instead, which is why the effects aren't as good as they could have been. And then so I kind of dogged that in the questionnaire they gave me because they picked like 20 people that you guys stay behind. Then they looked at my questionnaire and like, you can go. Let me go.
It's weird that they were
It's
so
like getting
CGI
dismissed from a
heavy.
jury.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good though. I like being dismissed from jury duty, but I
Oh,
wanted
God.
to talk about my displeasure.
So it's weird that they went with such CGI heavy, and he was upset with that because they gave him the Oscar that year for best makeup anyway.
Yeah.
For the
Oh, he
so
did a
that's
great
like-
job with what he had, but
Yeah.
they were saying that some of the transformation scenes they basically got him because they saw his work that he did with American Werewolf in London, and we told him like what it was going to take to do that whole transformation effect. They're just like, we'll CG half of it. And
Well, they also,
and granted,
like-
like he's proud of his work, but he's upset about how he complained in an interview. He complained about how he felt it was so lazy because there's times where like they don't like the way something looked. He goes, "Oh, I'll just fix it real fast." Like, no, we'll fix it in post. Just keep going. He's like,
yeah.
it'll take me 5 minutes to fix it. And it's going to look 10 times better. And they wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
let him do a lot of stuff he wanted to do.
Yeah. Also, they changed directors halfway through. There's a lot of issues, and
What
once
is it
that
with wolf
happens,
movies? We cannot make a Wolfman movie without this problems happening. Like I don't know if you noticed this, but Ryan Gosling is a producer on Wolfman 2025 because he quit the project before, and his ideas were still used because they were that far in development. Like this movie, I said it once, a miracle. You made it. I'm so proud of you guys. You did it. But also, like, oh man, should have been better.
Well, to go back to what
he
Jason
would
said,
be
like,
really good.
we're not in the business of just slagging movies. It's a slag them. Like you said, it's impressive that this movie even got done. So
Right.
So props. And it was a I'm sorry, I've been in and out paying attention, but it's a female director, right?
No, Leigh
It's Leigh
Whannell,
Whannell.
Okay, I could
the
have
director
sworn that.
of Upgrade and The Invisible Man.
Okay,
And
never mind.
Oh, there was and Saw. There was a good Saw homage. I like that part. I was like, okay, that was cool. But yeah. All
Good gore
right.
too. Very good gore.
Oh, fun fact. I mentioned this on our episode too. I saw this with my old roommate who was a super normie, and she had to leave the theater and go throw up halfway through the movie.
Wow. At what?
Because she got grossed out and like freaked out by the tension. It like stressed her out. And so she went and she came back and she was like, I threw up.
I thought you were gonna say the arm gnawing got her because that was pretty good.
Damn.
Well, it's the part where he has to like gnaw his ankle off. And I saw a thing on IMDb where the actor said that actually was delicious because he used like red corn syrup and like white chocolate for the bone. He's like,
Very
that was
nice.
actually really fun.
I
like
this,
him so much.
I liked the foot getting cut off Saw moment that happened in Wolfman, and he was like, well, and then I'm also like, okay, he's like 1 foot down. He might be easier to fight now. He's hobbling around, crawling around. Yeah.
Movies.
Yeah. I hope Leigh Whannell gets another movie that's a little bit less baggage on it. His next project, hopefully.
Yeah. Well,
are Alan Smitty movies still a thing?
Alan Smitty?
I'm sure somewhere.
It used to be back in the day if you were like directed a movie, but then the studio, like kind of like this one, the studio messed everything up and made it so difficult and you weren't happy with the result, you'd refuse to put your name on it and they'd put Alan Smitty's name on it. Hellraiser Bloodlines is one of the famous ones too, where they did that on because the director was so pissed off at how they just butchered his ideas and changed the movie around. So you can find a lot of Alan Smitty movies. I just don't know if it's still a thing that they do or not.
They actually, that's kind of similar to what happened with the Borderlands movie. The writer is used a pseudonym, but it wasn't that pseudonym. It was just a different one. Yeah.
That's good. Didn't that movie suck balls?
And that's why he didn't want his name on it.
Yeah.
That game is a fun game, and it's a lot of kind of campy and corny characters. Like it's tailor made for a movie, and to fail, it's pretty bad.
It seemed like it would be a fun like Deadpool-esque movie if you made if you thought about it for a while, you could see it being like that.
That's what the trailers. That's what the trailers were kind of going for, that vibe. Deathpool, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of romp.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think I know anyone that's actually seen the movie. I just thought the word of mouth was,
Borderlands?
yeah.
I didn't like. I don't love the game enough to go out and see the movie in the theater. And then when it got such bad reviews, I'm like, I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
Oh, I saw it opening weekend because my cousin wanted to see it and said he would pay for my tickets. So I said sure. And it
Oh.
sure was an hour and 40 minutes of my life. But, you know, the
You get to
kids in
hang out
front of
with
me
your cousin.
clapped after, like the 12-year-olds
Hey.
in front of me were clapping. So I'm glad they had a good time.
All right. Well, Courtney and Alyssa, thank you so much for coming
Thank you,
on.
guys.
Where can people find your show?
Thank you so much for having us tonight.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Okay.
Spotify for sure.
Yeah. We're for some odd reason we're like impossible to find on Apple Podcasts.
I was gonna say, I don't know why though, because I put the info in for Apple on our little, thingy,
Yeah,
but
it just doesn't show up.
Jason,
but
help them. You can help them. You got
Help
ours up
us.
on Apple.
Jason.
Yeah, do it, Jason.
We are on Instagram at Silver Screen Pod. We are on Twitter at More Werewolves because
But no, we're not. I don't use that no more.
Yeah, we don't really post on it. It exists, but we don't really use
Why
it.
is that?
Yeah, no.
I'm kidding.
But we are more present on Blue Sky.
Blue Sky's
where
the
we
place.
are able to actually use our real Silver Scream at silverscream.bluesky.social because some jackass on Twitter has Silver Scream and won't let me have it.
It's just silverscream dot bsky.social.
Cool. Blue Sky's better anyways.
It is, yeah. It's basically like Twitter, and like they'll get better and better the more time and people working on it. Like they recently added GIFs, which is fun, and videos are still limited to 60 seconds, but hopefully that'll be different soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone for listening. We would really appreciate if you give us a rating and review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube, and follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Goodbye.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.